When National Commander Joe Parsetich took DAV's reins in August 2022, our organization was coming off a fierce battle on Capitol Hill. The fight for the most sweeping legislation to bring justice for generations of veterans exposed to toxins and their families was nearing the finish line. Just days before we gathered in Orlando, Florida, the Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson, honoring our promise to address Comprehensive Toxics Act, or the Honoring Our PACT Act of 2022, cleared the Senate and was on its way to the President's desk for signature. Spirits were high as years of tireless work from DAV members and advocates helped clear the path to pass the most comprehensive toxic exposure veterans bill ever. Of course, we knew our work on behalf of veterans would be far from over, so we got down to business, electing new leadership and voting on essential resolutions affecting ill and injured veterans nationwide. During his acceptance speech, Commander Parsetich, a service-connected disabled Air Force veteran of the Vietnam War, reinforced DAV's commitment to our fellow veterans.
I want you to understand just how humbled I am by this opportunity and how hard I will work to honor your service as we contribute to the good fight that we wage for justice.
This past year was highlighted by remembrance, transition, and the return of familiar DAV events and activities. We saw a continued resurgence of in-person events, including the DAV 5K, National Disabled Veterans Winter Sports and Golf Clinics, and various homeless veteran standouts. We also saw the welcomed return of many hosted events from departments, chapters, and the auxiliary. In March, we marked the 20-year anniversary of the start of the Iraq War. As we all watched or served, PTSD, TBI, IED, and burn pit became household terms and, consequently, helped shape many of DAV's critical policy goals, especially around veteran mental health and toxic exposures. Through the renewed public interest in veteran care, DAV made sure any proposed legislation included provisions for all generations who have been forever changed by their service. And in April, Mark Burgess, who served as DAV National Adjutant for a decade, announced his retirement after nearly 3 decades of service with distinction to his fellow veterans. In his DAV career, he served in many roles throughout the organization, starting as an apprentice service officer in 1995. As a tremendous leader and friend, he has left an indelible mark on this organization and all of us. DAV was founded on the principle that this nation's first duty to veterans is the rehabilitation and welfare of its wartime disabled. For more than a century, we've kept that promise and continue to be the premier organization advocating on behalf of ill and injured veterans. In 2022, 46 DAV resolutions were included in federal legislation, 17 of which were adopted and signed into law. At our annual Midwinter Conference in Washington, D.C., DAV members brought our message to lawmakers. Through personal conversations with members of Congress, we made sure our critical policy goals were heard and understood. During the event, Commander Parsetich provided expert testimony before a joint session of the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committees, laying out DAV's legislative priorities for the 118th Congress. Using his own story, he emphasized the importance of providing the Department of Veterans Affairs the resources it needs to address veterans' mental health and reduce veteran suicides.
We can and we must do more to end the national tragedy of veteran suicide.
As we look to the future, DAV remains as confident as ever in achieving our critical policy goals and ensuring more victories for veterans. In 2022, DAV benefit advocates interviewed over 285,000 claimants and filed more than 174,000 new claims for more than 500,000 injuries and illnesses. And with over 1.1 million veterans entrusting DAV with their powers of attorney, representing $26 billion in earned benefits, we remain second to none. DAV's benefit advocates also assisted more than 20,000 transitioning service members. And nearly 13,000 attendees came to one of our 393 information seminars last year to learn about their VA benefits and the services DAV offers. As disasters struck across the nation and veterans and their family members found themselves in need of aid, DAV's disaster relief program was there, ready to provide desperately needed assistance. From tornadoes and fires to floods and hurricanes, DAV was able to issue 975 comfort and hygiene supply kits and nearly $2.1 million in emergency funds, assisting nearly 3,100 veterans in 15 states, Puerto Rico, and the District of Columbia. Since the disaster relief program's inception in 1968, DAV has dispersed more than $19.5 million to victims. Like so many Americans, seeking out and securing meaningful employment is paramount in the minds of veterans. This past year, DAV and Recruit Military hosted 85 in-person and virtual career fairs with more than 16,000 attendees, resulting in nearly 10,000 job offers. Since 2014, DAV has connected over 290,000 attendees with more than 173,000 job offers. From Caffeine Connect webinars to Shark Tank-style competitions and multi-day on-site intensive training events, DAV Patriot Bootcamp has enjoyed big successes this past year as well. The program assembles and activates an inclusive, dynamic community that empowers vetrepreneurs to become creators, innovators, and new economy leaders. 3 cohorts, totaling more than 100 participants, received one-on-one mentorship and training with industry leaders to help them grow their skills and confidence to succeed and become benefits providers and job creators. DAV's membership department continued to find innovative ways to help our grassroots recruiters share the hope and inspiration of our life-changing services and empowering mission. The Member Resources section of our recently refreshed DAV.org website makes it easier than ever to access important information. Members no longer have to log in to access membership recruiting material, including toolkits, webinars, videos, instructions, and guides. We also added smartphone-friendly QR codes to the Recruit a Warrior program. These custom codes can be printed on business cards and stationery or shared as a digital image, allowing veterans with a smartphone to scan them for instant membership information while giving you the referral credit. And to show our continued appreciation for the services and sacrifices of our members, the Member Advantages program provided an ever-expanding suite of discounts in an easy-to-use app that connects you with local businesses and national brands. DAV's Transportation Network volunteers were busy in 2022 as they provided more than 210,000 rides to and from VA medical appointments. Across the nation, these volunteer drivers logged more than 555,000 hours of drive time across more than 9.2 million miles. DAV's fleet of vehicles is instrumental in making health care that veterans have earned more easily available. In 2022, DAV departments and chapters, along with our oldest corporate partner, Ford Motor Company, donated 55 vehicles to the VA at a value of $1.7 million. Since the Transportation Network began in 1987, DAV has donated more than 3,600 vehicles, while Ford has donated more than 250 vehicles. And just a reminder, we are always looking for new volunteer drivers. With the DAV Scholarship, we are proud to invest in the futures of our outstanding student volunteers while promoting volunteerism in our younger generation. We awarded a total of $110,000 to 10 deserving students. Evan Osgood from Loveland, Ohio, received the 2022 top scholarship of $30,000.
This scholarship will be huge for me in my next steps of going to college and continuing to learn and grow and make an impact in our veteran communities all across the country.
After a 2-year hiatus, we were proud to return to Riverside, Iowa in 2022 for an in-person National Disabled Veterans Golf Clinic. The event, which we co-present with the VA, brought more than 120 disabled veteran golfers out to the links to hone their skills and engage in some friendly competition. Army veteran Michonne Harrison received the DAV Freedom Award as the person who best demonstrated the spirit of the week. Michonne, who was medically discharged in 2001 after she started losing her sight, was a joyful presence on the course and used her positivity to inspire those around her.
We have each other's six, no matter what. And that's what I think in adaptive sports, it just brings out the best in you, even on your worst day.
We also co-presented the National Disabled Veterans Winter Sports Clinic with the VA in beautiful Snowmass, Colorado. This 37th year of the clinic marked a return to full-scale participation. More than 300 participants experienced miracles on a mountainside as they took part in sports, including adaptive skiing, sled hockey, snowmobiling, and fly fishing. Minnesota Army National Guard veteran Sandy Braunstein received the DAV Freedom Award. A serious injury during a training accident eventually led to having her leg amputated. Despite the struggles on her recovery journey, she has found ways to find joy and community while providing inspiration to other disabled veterans.
Allow your burdens that you feel to become something beautiful, and this does it for you. And you will take that home and it never leaves.
The Charitable Service Trust supports dozens of unique initiatives that provide ill and injured veterans with rehabilitative and emotional therapy, transition assistance, employment support, emergency relief, and a range of other services. Last year, the Trust awarded $9.8 million in grants to organizations dedicated to these causes. Additionally, the Trust has earned the coveted 4-star rating from Charity Navigator more than 15 times since first being evaluated in 2002, with 3 perfect overall scores in recent years. This acknowledgement speaks volumes about the Trust's careful and efficient stewardship of donated funds, as more than 95 cents of every dollar donated to the Trust went to programs that directly support veterans. DAV continues to increase our efforts in reaching veterans, potential members, their families, and donors. And we're finding new ways to get in front of new audiences. Perhaps the most noticeable change is the look of DAV's website. The refreshed design focuses on easily connecting people with the information and services DAV provides, no matter what type of device someone uses. DAV's ongoing partnership with the Ultimate Fighting Championship remained strong last year, with UFC fighters sharing their thanks to those who've worn the uniform of this great country.
Thank you to all the veterans and all the people who have served the country to help make this a better place. We appreciate every single one of you guys.
DAV Chief Communications and Outreach Officer Dan Clare joined television personality Mike Rowe of Dirty Jobs and Deadliest Catch fame on his podcast, The Way I Heard It, to talk about Dan's whistleblower role in exposing the toxic burn pits in Iraq. His 2008 exposure of the issue led to DAV's burn pit registry, national public awareness, and DAV's principal role in drafting legislation for the PACT Act. We once again worked with Harvard Law School to present the DAV Distinguished Speaker Series. This year, author, documentarian, and past DAV Bugle Award recipient Sebastian Younger, talked about a growing civilian-military divide and joined veterans to discuss their experiences and ideas of how to close the gap. DAV teamed up with military veterans in journalism to prepare veterans to participate in a speakers bureau to train newsrooms to responsibly and accurately cover topics related to military service and the veteran experience. Thanks to DAV partner USAA, DAV's 2020 Disabled American Veteran of the Year, Army veteran Adam Greathouse, attended Super Bowl 57 as part of the NFL's Salute to Service initiative. Adam has donated more than 5,100 volunteer hours sharing his story with veterans and VA staff members to provide invaluable insight into what disabled veterans experience during their recovery. DAV volunteers joined forces with the TV program Military Makeover with Montel to help provide Army National Guard veteran Jonathan Thomas and his family a home that was more accommodating to his disabilities. He took the full force of a suicide bomber's blast from an attack on his unit during a 2008 deployment to Afghanistan. Jonathan was left with a severe spinal injury and peripheral damage to his right eye, but continues to work in his community, helping children with disabilities. We also continued our partnership with Golden Corral through the restaurant's Military Appreciation Night. Each year around Veterans Day, they provide free meals to veterans. In 2022, more than 158,000 meals were served. The annual event raised more than $900,000 for DAV, bringing the total to over $18 million since the partnership began in 2001. Camp Corral, a one-of-a-kind summer camp for children of wounded, disabled, or fallen service members and veterans, came back in 2022, hosting 17 summer camps. To date, Camp Corral has served over 30,000 children with a military connection, the majority of whom have a parent who was wounded, made ill, or killed in service. Camp Corral helps these kids with experiences that help them overcome their unique challenges. Through DAV's Just Be Kids scholarship program, more than 5,600 children of wounded, disabled, or fallen veterans have attended the camp at no cost. DAV has donated more than $4.8 million to Camp Corral since 2014. In November, we hosted the 10th annual DAV 5K, which brought nearly 3,000 people together, both virtually and in Cincinnati, to raise awareness and money for DAV's programs and services. Participants ran, walked, rolled, and rode their way to raising close to $475,000, surpassing the event's fundraising goal. We also expanded our Field of Flags campaign nationwide. We partnered with 7 schools and 3 organizations to set up fields of American flags to honor local veterans while raising money to support ill and injured heroes. In this first trial year of expansion, we raised more than $16,000. DAV's Victories for Veterans public service announcement campaign doubled its reach in 2022, generating 16.7 billion impressions. That's a donated media value of $132 million. Since 2014, DAV PSAs have aired more than 1.1 million times on television alone through the generosity of stations nationwide. The DAV Auxiliary had a busy year, starting with Darlene Spence being elected as the National Commander. The organization saw big growth this year as they welcomed 9 new units to the Auxiliary family. All its members, new and long-standing, continued to be steadfast, vocal advocates alongside DAV to champion legislation that benefits disabled veterans, their families, and their caregivers. The Auxiliary continued to focus on families of veterans. In December, they launched DAV Auxiliary for Kids, a grant program to assist children of ill or injured veterans with financial need to attend camps or participate in extracurricular activities such as sports or school trips. Additionally, they awarded a total of $40,000 in scholarships to 29 students after receiving a record number of applications. Our Auxiliary is poised and excited for continued growth and success in the coming year. It has been inspiring to witness how you all have faced and overcome the challenges of the past few years. The energy and effort that you have poured into our mission through volunteering, advocacy, recruiting, and perhaps most importantly, camaraderie, has proven that we will do whatever it takes to make sure our brothers and sisters are cared for. Thank you for your sustained support. Thank you for your commitment to our mission. Thank you for being there for each other. We continue to become a stronger organization each and every day because of you. It's an honor to serve alongside you as we keep our promise to America's veterans, their survivors, and their families.